You know, the older we get, the more we realize how delicate the balance inside our bodies really is. At 70 and beyond, even the smallest change, a new pill, a shift in diet, or an extra glass of water at the wrong time, can feel different than it once did. What you once shrugged off in your 40s might suddenly feel heavier, more noticeable, as though your body is whispering, "Please pay attention." And that whisper deserves to be heard. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. Your body has carried you through decades of life, through joys, through struggles, through ordinary mornings and unforgettable nights. Now it simply asks for gentler care, more patience, more understanding. Many people feel uneasy admitting that medicines they've taken for years might suddenly pose a risk. There's a sense of betrayal. Why now after all this time? But the truth is, nothing has gone wrong. It's just that your body, with all its history and resilience, is not the same as it was 30 years ago. The liver no longer clears toxins as quickly, the kidneys filter more slowly, and even the stomach reacts with more sensitivity. This isn't decline, it's transformation. And transformation asks us to slow down, to reconsider, to treat ourselves with the tenderness we once reserved for others. I often think of aging as a kind of conversation. In youth, the body speaks loudly, demanding energy, movement, adventure. Later, its voice softens. It no longer shouts, it whispers. But the wisdom of whispers is this: you have to lean in to truly hear them. If you've ever wondered why a pill that once helped you sleep now leaves you groggy all day, or why a pain reliever you trusted suddenly upsets your stomach, the answer is not that you've become fragile, it's that your body has shifted into a new season, and the rules of care have shifted too. Isn't it remarkable, really, that your body is still teaching you after all these years? Some people resist this stage of life, trying to force their 70s to feel like their 50s. But what if, instead, you embraced this quieter dialogue? What if you let the changes remind you that living with awareness is not a burden, but a gift? You don't need to become an expert in pharmacology. You simply need curiosity, a willingness to ask, how does this really make me feel now? And the courage to bring those answers to your doctor without shame or hesitation. You deserve that level of care. You've earned it. And maybe this is the heart of the matter. Aging isn't about control, it's about partnership. Partnership with your body, partnership with your healthcare, partnership with yourself. So, I'd love to know, where are you reading this from? Share your location in the comments, and let's see how far this circle of wisdom stretches. One of the most common and yet least talked about risks after 70 is the combination of blood thinners with common pain relievers. It seems harmless at first glance. After all, if you're dealing with heart health and also struggling with aching joints or post-surgery discomfort, why not take both? But here's the quiet truth. Together, they can turn something as simple as a bruise or a small cut into something far more dangerous. Your blood no longer clots as quickly, and even minor internal bleeding can become serious before you realize it. I think of Mary, a gentle woman of 74 who had knee replacement surgery a few years ago. Her doctor prescribed a blood thinner to protect her from clots, and at home she took aspirin for the pain, not realizing how risky the mix could be. Within weeks, she noticed deep purple bruises spreading across her arms, bruises that appeared without bumping into anything. She felt frightened. Her body seemed fragile in a way she had never known before. Thankfully, her doctor quickly helped her adjust, offering safer alternatives for pain and teaching her how to manage discomfort without the extra risk. Mary often says now, "I wish someone had told me sooner, but I'm grateful I learned when I did." Her story isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to remind you that awareness is an act of self-love. You deserve to feel safe with every pill you take. And sometimes, safety begins with the simplest of steps. Start by keeping a written list of every medication you use, even the ones you buy at the pharmacy without a prescription. Carry it with you to every appointment, and don't be shy about pulling it out, even if your doctor looks busy. This little act can save you from dangerous overlaps. Before you reach for that over-the-counter pain pill, pause. Ask yourself gently, do I really need this now, or is there another way I can soothe myself? Sometimes rest, a warm compress, or even a short walk can ease discomfort in ways a pill cannot. And when you do need something stronger, your doctor can guide you toward choices that don't put your health at unnecessary risk. There is no shame in asking, no weakness in checking. In fact, it is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. Our culture often celebrates independence, as if needing help means we are somehow less. But true independence at this age comes not from doing everything alone, but from being wise enough to seek guidance when it matters most. And your body, with all it has carried you through, is certainly worth that wisdom. If this reminder speaks to you, if it brings a little more peace of mind, consider subscribing. It's a gentle way to keep receiving insights like these, small but meaningful steps that can make your daily life safer, calmer, and more confident. There is another combination that often hides in plain sight: diabetes medications taken together with certain blood pressure drugs. On their own, both are designed to protect you, to stabilize what your body can no longer balance as easily on its own. But when used together, something subtle yet important can happen. Your blood sugar may drop lower than it should, leaving you shaky, weak, or even confused. It's not always easy to connect the dots. Sometimes you might think, I skipped breakfast, that's why I feel this way, or I just didn't sleep well last night. But beneath those simple explanations may lie the quiet work of medications interacting in ways your body now struggles to manage. As we age, the liver becomes less efficient at regulating glucose, and the kidneys, too, don't clear substances as quickly as they once did. This means medications stay in your system longer, amplifying their effects. What once felt safe may suddenly tip the balance too far. It isn't a failure of your body, it's the natural evolution of years lived. And with awareness, it's something you can protect yourself against. Think for a moment about your own mornings. Have you ever noticed your energy dipping not just because you were tired, but in a way that felt sudden, almost like a curtain being drawn? That's not your imagination. That could be your blood sugar falling more than it should. Listening to these signals is an act of deep respect for yourself. It takes courage to pause and ask, could this be my medications interacting? Rather than dismissing it as just another quirk of aging. Doctors sometimes adjust doses or change the timing of when pills are taken to soften these effects. But they can only do that if they know what you're experiencing. That's why it helps to keep a small notebook or even a folded piece of paper tucked into your pocket, where you jot down when you feel these sudden dips. You don't need to measure or analyze like a scientist. Just a few words, felt weak at 11 a.m., or sudden dizziness before lunch, can give your doctor clues that your medications need adjusting. It's easy to assume, especially after decades of managing health, that you should already know what's normal and what isn't. But aging invites us into a different kind of wisdom. The wisdom of asking instead of assuming. The wisdom of letting go of I should know and embracing I'm learning again. That shift is not weakness, it is growth. And it honors the life you've already lived. So when you next feel that unexpected wave of tiredness or lightheadedness, let that be a gentle nudge. Don't brush it aside. Instead, allow yourself to bring it forward, to seek clarity. You deserve to feel steady, not uncertain. You deserve a body that supports you, not one that surprises you in ways that shake your confidence. And with a little awareness, with a little partnership between you and your healthcare, you can keep those surprises from becoming dangers. One of the most overlooked but deeply important cautions involves the mix of sleep aids with common allergy medications. At first, it might sound harmless. After all, one is meant to help you rest, and the other to ease the discomfort of sneezing or watery eyes. But together, they can create a heaviness, a fog that lingers into the next morning, leaving you more vulnerable to confusion, imbalance, and even falls. And at this stage of life, a single fall can change everything. That's why it matters to approach these combinations with gentle awareness. It's not about fear, it's about choosing steadiness over risk, clarity over drowsiness. Think of your evenings when perhaps you reach for something to help you sleep a little deeper, or your mornings when allergy season nudges you toward that familiar tablet. It's so easy to take them without a second thought, yet in those quiet decisions lies your safety. There are kinder ways to protect yourself. The first step is to ask for non-drowsy options when addressing allergies. Pharmacies often carry them, and simply choosing one over the other can make the difference between waking clear-headed or stumbling through the day. The second step is to take sleep aids only under careful guidance, never as a habit formed out of worry that you won't rest without them. Your body often finds its own rhythm if you allow it gentle support. A darker room, a warm cup of caffeine-free tea, a ritual of calm before bed. And if you do need help, let it be under the watchful eye of a doctor who understands the full picture of what else you take. The third step is to give yourself new tools that ease the mind into sleep without medicine. Write down a thought that lingers instead of holding it in your chest. Keep a small journal of bedtime rituals, what soothes you, what unsettles you, and let patterns guide you toward healthier habits. In this way, you move from reacting to creating, from helplessness to quiet empowerment. I once spoke with a man named George, 78, who told me he had been taking both a nighttime sleep pill and an over-the-counter allergy tablet without realizing how they interacted. He described waking in the night, disoriented, once even falling on his way to the bathroom. With his doctor's help, he switched to a non-drowsy allergy medication and began practicing simple breathing before sleep. Within weeks, his nights became safer and his mornings clearer. He said with a relieved smile, "I thought my age was stealing my balance, but it wasn't age, it was the mix of pills." His story is a reminder that what feels like decline is sometimes just a gentle nudge to change course. You too have that choice, and isn't that a comfort? Aging doesn't mean surrendering to every foggy morning or every stumble. It means learning how to adjust, how to walk this path with more wisdom and less risk. You don't need to do everything at once. You can begin with one step, as small as asking yourself tonight, do I really need both of these? That question alone opens the door to safer, steadier days. And in those days, you can find more of what you truly deserve: clarity, calm, and the quiet joy of moving through life with trust in your own balance. There is a common belief that if something is herbal, it must be safe. After all, plants feel gentle, natural, a gift from the earth. But the truth is that herbs, just like prescription medications, carry powerful effects, and when combined with antidepressants, they can sometimes intensify their impact in dangerous ways. St. John's wort, for example, is often taken for mood support, yet it can interact with prescribed antidepressants to trigger restlessness, confusion, or even more serious complications. It can be surprising, even unsettling, to think that something bought from a health store shelf could create as much risk as a strong prescription. But this is where wisdom comes in, not rejecting herbs entirely, but recognizing that natural is not the same as risk-free. I once met Elena, a thoughtful woman in her early 70s who began taking St. John's wort on the advice of a friend. She was already prescribed medication for depression, but felt she needed an extra lift. Within weeks, she noticed her sleep unraveling, her heart racing at odd times, and her mind buzzing with unease. She thought perhaps it was just age or stress. When she finally told her doctor, the connection became clear. The herb was quietly magnifying the effects of her antidepressant. After stopping the supplement, her balance returned. Elena told me later, "I thought I was helping myself, but I was giving my body too much to carry." Her words hold a lesson we can all reflect on. At this age, the body often asks us not for more, but for less. Not for piling on new remedies, but for subtracting the ones that no longer serve us. Isn't it interesting how life itself mirrors this? In youth, we collect possessions, experiences, even responsibilities. But in later years, peace often comes from letting go, from clearing space for what truly nourishes. The same is true with what we put into our bodies. Before you add any supplement, pause and ask yourself gently, does my doctor know about this? Have I shared everything I'm taking? That small moment of honesty can protect you more than any capsule ever could. You deserve to feel safe, not uncertain about what you consume. You deserve a mind that is clear, a heart that is steady, and a body that can trust the choices you make for it. If this reflection speaks to you, I invite you to stay connected by subscribing. Gentle reminders like these can help you walk this stage of life with more confidence and ease. And I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever discovered a surprising reaction between medications or supplements? Share your story in the comments. Your experience might be the very thing that helps someone else feel less alone on their journey.